High Vibe Nation is live. Welcome to the High Vibe Nation, where we have set out to raise the vibration of every human being on the planet. Your hosts on this journey are Sherry Gideons and Pamela Aubrey. So let's join them now in their current interview with a high-vibing individual.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the High Vibe Nation. We are here tonight with a very special guest, the powerful Christian spiritual teacher, Alain Dagba, the creator of One Happy Life Ministry for specially one goal: to provide cutting-edge resources that help people experience a higher percentage of happiness on a daily basis through enthusiasm, the awakening of God within using Bible mysteries. So thank you so much for being here with us today, Alain.
I am very excited to be here with you.
Welcome.
Such a joy.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about where you're from. We can hear your accent and, just a little bit about your life growing up.
Okay, well, I am from Togo, West Africa. For most people who don't know Togo, you probably know Ghana. Ghana is right next to Togo. It's a French-speaking country. So I speak French. Growing up, my childhood, I was raised in a family where my dad valued prayer a lot, connection to God, reading the Bible. And I remember every morning, we have, my dad has this bell, he will ring, right? And we will all come in the living room and then we will worship, we'll pray. And I was raised in that environment. So that's a little bit about my childhood.
So amazing. Well, and so tell us a little bit about what brought you to the United States and what your life was like growing up.
Okay, well, how deep do you want me to go?
As deep as you want to go.
There you go.
Well, most people, what they ask me most of the time is, how I received the calling for ministry, because I think coming to America has to do with the calling, as a matter of fact. So, I was born with, some clear gift, the gift of sight, being able to see things in the spiritual realm. Mm-hmm. And my mom is still alive, and she tells the story to my friends and sometime in church. So I was born in that consciousness already, like most people are. There's nothing special really about it. If anything, it just brings a lot of challenge. Schooling was very challenging for me. It was very hard to be able to focus in one realm. I remember when I was second, fifth grade, it was very tough. I would faint from the bench. The teachers thought something was wrong with me. They could not really understand what is going on, but I was always in two realms, right? Here and in the astral realm, constantly seeing things that other people can't see. So it gets to a point where it becomes very challenging to even talk about the things that I see. And then, some people came to the house that I'm probably possessed by a devil. So they want to do some exorcism on me, right? So they tried that, it didn't work. But there was one particular pastor who came to the house. He told my dad that he was actually assigned by the angels to come and see him, that he has a son who needs to be helped to channel his gift properly. And his name was Pastor Christian. And at that time, I was very sick because in my dreams, I would confront some dark forces and then they end up crippling my legs. And it came to a point where I can't go to school. I was constantly sick. What people need to understand is, any battle you're going through, especially when it comes to dark energies and dark forces, you are not the target. Your purpose is. Your calling is the target. What your presence on earth is going to bring, the high vibe energy, the love, the healing power, because you got to understand, as a human being, you are in the embodiment of consciousness. You are the embodiment of God. You are the embodiment of love. So love has chosen this body to come on earth to bring healing, restoration, peace. So that assignment is high. So when you are a seed planted in a family where the family environment doesn't understand that assignment, they cannot protect you. But you must understand that there are also dark forces, right? And they can sense, smell, and they can tell what the assignment is about. And they can use family members through like rape, molestation, all kind of things, abuse that happen in families, right? You know, dark forces will go through somebody's wound to actually disable your purpose and your calling in your spirit. That's what we call spiritual abortion, which means what you have come to do here on planet Earth has been aborted by pain and wound. So, but when that pastor came, before he came, other pastors came. They were sprinkling all kind of things and they were praying. I wasn't healed. Now this guy came. He didn't do any of that. He just called my dad and said, "Okay, bring me the boy." I came and he just poured olive oil over my head. He was not making any loud noise. Mm-mm. The man just prayed a simple prayer in the name of Jesus. I was instantly healed.
Wow.
The pain was instantly gone. And he's the one that explained to my dad that some people are ordained in the spiritual realm before they came here. So most people, when they ask me, how did you start your ministry? One thing I know for sure is this is not something you go to school for, right? It's the Spirit of God that actually, if you're a Bible scholar, you know anything about the scriptures, the Bible made it clear that you don't need a teacher to teach you because the anointing itself teaches you all things. So when you have the Spirit of God working with you, the Spirit of God will teach you the mysteries of the kingdom and will launch you into your ministry. Did I have some people along the way? Yes. One of the men that really helped me was a deacon from a Pentecostal church. He was coming to the house to teach us a little bit about the Bible. He told my dad, "This boy has the gift. I want to train him first in fasting." He's the first man that introduced me at a young age to fasting. I fasted for the first time 24 days before I did my own 40 days fasting on liquid alone. This is the man who trained me. And he would take me at a young age to places where we go really like remove dark magic out of people's house at the young age. But he wasn't afraid anything gonna happen to me because he said that I have been called and anointed before I came here. So that was the man that really introduced me to this what we call ministry. And then right after that, I went through some confrontations with some of the dogmas of the church, some of the teachings that weren't making sense. People were asking questions; they cannot be giving answers, and then that's when I started to really feel the calling within that I have to fast, and I have to find these answers from the Spirit of God that has brought this ministry to me from birth. And after the 40 days fasting, I came out of the fasting of at least a bunch of journals, like 12 of them. And some of the mysteries I haven't written about them. So my first major revelation that I published was The Secret to Divine Manifestations, Finding Your Life Purpose Through the Rebirth of Your Soul. Yeah, people love that book. It changed them. It's to show the mysteries of the Bible, basic mysteries that people can understand and take their spirituality to the next level.
Wow. So how can you help people really understand that they're here with purpose?
Well, first of all, the idea of purpose has been complicated a lot.
Okay.
I think we have to begin to give people something they can work with, right? What is the purpose? Maya Angelou said something very powerful. She said that people may forget your name, but they will never forget how you made them feel. The purpose is very simple. It's the feeling you have come to awaken in people on the planet. That's all the purpose is. Now, when you choose the feeling that you have come to awaken in people on the planet, then you can clothe that feeling now with what you call a career or a life work. But you cannot just go with the clothing. You have to first go with the vibration, right? You are here to deliver a vibration in the cosmic field, right? You are here to deliver energy. You are here to deliver a force, a power into people's spirit. And that is more like a feeling. When you, for example, create a product and you put it in front of people, what type of feeling that product awakens in them? If you are a doctor and you have a patient, right? What kind of feeling do you awaken in people when you show up as a doctor? You understand? If you whatever it is that you're doing, there is a feeling that your presence awakens in people. That feeling is your purpose. Now, if you can be conscious creator of that feeling, then you have become the master of your purpose. That making sense? So even if you put a book out, it has to awaken that feeling. Even if you speak, it has to awaken that feeling. Even if you just say hello to somebody, it has to awaken that feeling. So we have the power, the capacity, the ability to be able to design the kind of feelings we want to channel into people's spirit when we show up or when we create something. Once we decide that, we become intentional about it, then our life is moving on purpose.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. So much of us are living from identity versus our spiritual gifts. How do you help people to elevate their spiritual gifts and live from the frequency of love? Because love is the highest vibration.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, there are a lot of terminologies that have been used that I think we have to be very kind and genuine with people by breaking down the concept for them in a way they can use it. I'm all about giving something practical to people they can work with. Because we use the word vibration, we use the word consciousness, we use the word I am, we use the word life, we use the word God, we use the word love, we're using energy, we're using frequency, and people are so confused about all that.
Right.
You have a whole bunch of people reading many books, they're watching many shows, and they're hearing those terminologies over and over again, but they're not moving forward. If you will allow me to talk about that now, I want to break down those concepts, right?
Please.
So that people can have something they can work with. After this show, they should start seeing some changes in their lives. Okay. So now let's break it down for a moment. But you see, for example, this is a pen, right? If I were to ask you, is this pen alive? It may be difficult for people to believe that this pen is alive, but let's break it down. See, when you move this pen under a microscope, right, you will notice two things. Under the microscope, you see particles moving, right? Follow me. You see particles moving. Where there is movement, there is energy. So keep that in mind. Energy, movement, energy, particles moving, energy. Okay. Now, when you observe deeper, you realize that those particles, protons and neutrons, and then all the electrons, they're not just moving, they're moving in order. Okay. So where there's order, there is intelligence. You see that? Where there's movement, energy, order, intelligence. Now, watch this. The combination of energy and intelligence is what you call consciousness. Okay, is what you call life. Now we have 5 different kingdoms. I want to break this thing down for you so you understand what it means to vibrate in high frequency. When you take the mineral, for example, a rock is alive, but the level of intelligence in the rock is very low. So you take a rock, the rock is not dancing, the rock is not moving, the rock is not doing anything spectacular, but there is energy and intelligence in the rock. So consciousness is still there, but at a very lower level. That's the mineral kingdom. Then above the mineral kingdom, you have the plant kingdom. Oh, the plants can do more. The plants can grow leaves, they can grow branches, a fruit and flowers. That means intelligence has been increased. When intelligence increases, life energy increases and consciousness evolves. See that? So in the plant kingdom, consciousness evolves. Now, above the plant kingdom, you have the animal kingdom. Oh, they can do more. Now we have more intelligence, right? More intelligence and more energy, consciousness has evolved again in the animal kingdom. Now, if you take a dog from the animal kingdom and you give him the human, or you inject in the dog mind the human intelligence, this dog can pick up a phone, can open the door, or when you ring the bell, this dog can hear his name. This dog can sit down when you say sit down. What happens? You increase the light of the dog with the human light or the human intelligence. Intelligence equals light. So all the other dogs will look at that dog and say, this dog is performing miracles. Why? Because the intelligence, the light is very low, but you increase the intelligence of that dog. So it has more energy to do more stuff. Now, above the animal kingdom, you have the human kingdom. Oh, they can talk, they can give birth, they can communicate, they can build houses, they can build cars, they can develop technologies. Higher intelligence, consciousness has evolved again. Higher intelligence, more expression of energy, consciousness is high. Now, above the human kingdom, you have the God's kind of kingdom, the Christ consciousness. It demands a higher level of intelligence. When you get to that level, You don't just make cars and technology. No, you open the eyes of the blind. You make the cripple walk. You walk on water. You transform regular matter into powerful matter, alchemy. You begin to talk to the wind, like Jesus did. You talk to the trees. Everything in the universe begin to speak the language of love, because consciousness, from the mineral kingdom, from the plant kingdom to the animal kingdom, all the way to the human kingdom and to the God's kingdom, is the expression of love. How do we know that? It's all giving. The universe is the library of God. Everything created reveals to you your face. When you ask yourself, what is Mother Nature doing right now? What is the universe doing right now? It's only giving. It's giving you oxygen. It's giving you air to breathe. It's giving you fruits. It's giving you vegetables. It's giving you everything. Everything we're wearing came from Mother Nature. That giving aspect of consciousness, when you experience it, is what feels like love. And you have come on earth to do the same thing. You have come here to liberate the energy of consciousness in you into other people. And when they receive it, they feel it as love.
Mm.
Wow, that's so beautiful. So the thing that comes to my mind when you're explaining this is how do we then raise our own consciousness?
There we go.
How do we go to that next level?
That's very important. Jesus says something very powerful. He said, I am the light. Now, that word, I am the light, means there is an I am in you that has the eternal light of God intelligence. Okay? This I am is the presence of God in the human spirit, unlimited intelligence. But you see, our brain, through meditation, can have access to that unlimited intelligence. When we are not meditating, that's when we have blockages. Again, meditation is another word people are confused about. So many meditations. Meditation for this, meditation for that. So people are so tired, they don't know what to do no more. So the basic thing that I want to tell people is your breath, right, is the direct access to consciousness, right? If you can learn to sit down, this is the key. You begin from here, it will change your life. If you can sit down and focus on your breath, you focus on each inhalation and each exhalation. What will happen is the mind will come. The mind will intervene. It will put you at the grocery shopping. It will have you argue with your siblings. The key thing is bring your mind back to the breath, right? The Bible said there's a spirit in man and the breath of God gives them understanding, right? This breath, when you see it in the bird, this breath has an intelligence called instinct. It tells the bird where to find food. Do you understand what I'm saying? Jesus said that it's the Father who actually will feed the bird, right? The plants, the lilies of the field, this intelligence can clothe them with flowers and beautiful leaves, right? This intelligence is also part of you. It can heal you, it can restore you, it can give you a glow, it can give you direction. One of the example I like to give in the Bible is when Peter is so professional fisherman. He went on the sea and tried to find fish. He can't find the fish. You understand? There is a level where intellectualism cannot penetrate, right? Professionally cannot penetrate there. I mean, he's been teaching, so he understands the language of the sea. He's the professional, but he has a limitation. So Jesus said, let's go back again. Sometimes people have to learn to go back to where they have already been. But you go back now, the intelligence of the higher self, of the Christ consciousness. So Jesus said, let's go back again. And Jesus told him, throw the net this way. And he threw the net. Oh my gosh, a bunch of fish, a lot of fish. You got to ask yourself, how come the intellectual mind didn't perceive it? Because that intelligence cannot come from the intellect. It has to come from the higher self within you. When you can learn 5 minutes, focus on your breath. Don't do nothing. Don't try to create nothing. Focus on your breath. 5 minutes. The first day will be challenging. Do it again tomorrow. Do it again. Incremental growth. I tell you the truth. After 9 days, you will get to a place where you can focus on your breath 30 minutes straight without the mind taking you to the shopping center, right? Having you argue and fight with people in your head or creating weird stuff. Like people go to, I was talking to some of my students, I said, okay, go to the park and close your eyes and try to meditate. The mind will tell you there's a snake coming. There's no snake there. It will tell you that there's a bear coming to attack you. A lion is coming. But You already know in the past those animals are not there, but the mind will create them. So if we want to begin to tap into high consciousness, into the higher intelligence of the Christ consciousness, we have to use our breath. Remember, the mind is the king of the body, but the breath is the queen of the mind.
Wow, so beautiful. And, we hear a lot about practicing gratitude. And I'm wondering if you can speak to that as a way to help us tap into our consciousness at a deeper level.
It's true, but we gotta first, again, make a difference between thankfulness and gratitude. This is something that a lot of people are confusing. For example, my wife, I can say, I'm grateful for my wife. Maybe what I'm saying is I'm thankful for my wife because gratitude is higher. When you're talking about gratitude, you're talking about an exponential awareness, right? Exponential awareness. If I say, I'm thankful for my wife, and the moment I start saying why I'm thankful, I move into gratitude right away. That's exponential. So if I say, I am grateful for my wife because, and I explain to myself why I am grateful, what is it that is coming from her that is making me feel the gratitude? I am conscious of it. You're conscious of it, you begin to awaken a higher vibration within you. Because gratitude is the substance of exponential thinking, right? So, and then I said to myself, wow, I'm grateful for my wife because she supports my dream. I'm going to feel it. You see that? But when I say I'm grateful for my wife, I may not feel anything until you feel energy is being released. But when I say I'm grateful for my wife because she supports my dream, because she always gives me the right advice when I'm looking for an answer, then I'm start creating a bubble of vibration inside of me, right? Then I go to the third level. So thankfulness, first level of gratitude. Third level of gratitude is when I felt that feeling, how did that help me move forward in life? Oh, now she didn't just awaken a feeling in me. The feeling actually propelled me into something great. You see that? So I go to that third level and I start talking about how that helped me, how that changed my life, how that raised my vibration. And then I go to the fourth level now. And I say, okay, when I felt that vibration, how did that impact the rest of the world? Oh my God, from my wife to my body, from my body to my environment, from my environment to people. Oh my goodness. Now, thankfulness is becoming an exponential thinking, exponential awareness that is creating a higher vibration. If your mind is a distraction machine, you will not move through from thankfulness to gratitude. It's not going to happen. So if you quiet your mind, you learn to quiet your mind, and you get to that place where you can move through gratitude with a clean mind, focusing exactly in what you're experiencing. Oh my goodness. Gratitude is the compounding power. Somebody say here, I feel like gratitude is the upwell of living water springing up from within. Jesus spoke about. Yes, true, absolutely. Again, don't make me talk about cosmic water. This is good. I like that comment the person made, and we must say something powerful. And what he says is absolutely true. When we come to a place where, listen, guys, words will always betray the experience in the spirit realm. When you have some experience in the spirit realm, the words that we use, the vocabulary is so limited to be able to express them. Gratitude is actually more powerful, and I like the way the man put it earlier. Because you see, when you produce the feeling inside of you, and the world is getting to that place where eventually we get to understand that feeling is actually an electromagnetic wave, right? When you produce a feeling inside of your body, right? The moment it moves out of your body to the pores and goes outside of your body, we call it a vibration, or it's in your aura. And the moment you move out of your aura into the atmosphere, it's called a frequency, right? A radio wave. And then when you move out of the atmosphere and goes into the spiritual realm, it's called a message, which can be picked by the angels. We don't want to go in that area. But what I'm saying is, whenever you produce a high substance of love through gratitude into the atmosphere in your home, what you don't know is you are producing a divine cosmic water for your neighbor and everybody in the surrounding. Subconsciously, they will tap into that vibration. Suddenly, they will start feeling happy. They don't even know why they're feeling happy. Some people who were arguing, suddenly they can't no more because there is a bubble of water, a spring of eternal life flowing out of somebody in the neighborhood that is feeding the whole community. It's so powerful. The same way when we are depressed, when we are sad, what we do is everybody around us, we start draining them, right? You don't know, but your neighbor, you actually borrowing a portion of the life force to sustain yourself. That's the reason why when you by yourself in isolation, it's easy to kill yourself. See? Because there's nobody to drain to get that energy from to sustain yourself.
So then, in speaking to that, so how would, let's talk about COVID-19, for example, and so many people are aligned and connected to fear and challenge. How would you dissipate fear in the body when so many are in that mindset right now?
It's important to understand what fear is. Basically, fear is an opposite faith, right? The same thing that faith will create, fear will create. Fear is a creative power. It works with imagination and feelings, right? When people begin to inject information into your mind, they tap into your past data. Don't forget that. Now, that will require that we understand the ego. The ego is the accumulation of all the negative events that happened to you. Even when you were a child, you don't want to go to bed early, your mom said, you got to go to bed, or you ask for something, they say no. All those moments that you didn't have a good experience, the accumulation of all these negative, so-called negative events at the subconscious level, the totality of all that is what creates the ego, right? The ego is the language of the past, right? So when fear has to be awakened in your body, it has to come from the language of the past. So when they say coronavirus is killing, well, the subconscious mind will compare the coronavirus to anything that's trying to kill you before. It's gonna compare it to anything that has harmed you before. You may not see the picture, but at the subconscious level, they all get activated immediately. So when they are activated at the cellular level, you feel it. It goes through your bloodstream and it will begin to weaken your immune system. And when that happens, two things can happen. You can have a placebo effect or nocebo effect. You can actually create the disease in your body with your own mind. Or your auric body will become so weak that you will begin to attract vibrations from outside to make your body sick.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, and this goes along a little bit with somewhat of a discussion you and I and Danielle were having the other day around the concept of manifestation. And of course, this has become a very popular topic. But I would love for you to speak to that because I really like the way that you explain it and sort of define it.
Thank you. Well, the issue with manifestation is, it's becoming so popular, right? And the people watch the movie The Secret, the people read in the Bible about faith, ask if to receive, and they read so many books and they're asking themselves, how is it not working? So our goal is to give people, I'm repeating this because it's important, something they can work with, right? And I want to explain something very important when it comes to manifestation. Follow this. For the sake of illustration, I'm going to divide the human body into three parts, right? You have three bodies. Your psychic body, or your spiritual body, all right? Your physical body, or your biological body, and then your cosmic body. I'm going to talk about all that when it comes to manifestation. If anyone is listening, just write this thing down. It will work because now you have the science is going to be exposed to you. Okay, what is your psychic body? What is your spiritual body? Is the condensation, the condensed version of everything invisible about you. I'm talking about your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your feelings, your impulses, your character, your personalities, your habit, your memory, your gift, your talents, your potential. Everything about you that is actually invisible, right? That's your psychic or your spiritual body. I want you to think about it like the ocean. Okay, we got it? Psychic body, ocean. Perfect. Now, your physical body is just a group of cells. So you want to understand here that the meaning of the word body just means a group of something, like the ocean is a group of water, right? So your psychic body is just a group of any invisible aspect of yourself. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, feelings, impulses, and intuitions, and all these things. That's the body of all these things is called spiritual body. Now, your physical body or your biological body is just a group of cells to make it very easy for you. Now, the cosmic body may be a little complicated, so I'm going to take my time. The cosmic body, why do we call it a cosmic body? You hear the word cosmos, which is for the universe. Think about the cosmic body this way. Think about a large field, right? And we have 4 farmers. We need to split the field in 4 parts. Each one of us will own a portion, right? The portion of the field you own, that is the portion you get to manage. The same thing with the universe. The universe is big, but there is a portion of the universe that you put in your life, and you actually cut out that portion that you're managing. But there is a group of events that takes place in your personal life. The people you attract, the job you attract, the career you attract, all the different things you attract, events, circumstances that you attract, they also form a group of atoms in your cosmic body. So the cosmic body is the group of people, events, and circumstances, right? And your physical body is a group of cells, and your psychic body is a group of all the invisible part of you. Now we have the layout. How does manifestation work? Let's say you want a car, a brand new car. That's an idea. It has to first show up in your psychic body as an idea. But you must understand something very important. That idea has to be able to generate a frequency. It has to be able to generate a vibration, right? I want to tell you something very important. If anybody tell you otherwise, is a fraud because it's not true. The only gate, register, the only gate into the spiritual realm is your imagination. Now watch this. Let's say you want a car. What do? You go in your psychic body, right? The ocean. Your physical body is like a sponge, actually inside the psychic body. So the psychic body feels the sponge in and out, through and through, right? The body is soaking right now in your psychic body, and you're going to understand very soon what I mean by that. So you choose the car you want, and then you bring your mind inward. The best way to bring your mind inward is to count backward, right? So you count backward from 20, depending on level of concentration. You can count your mind backward from 20 all the way to 0. When you are at ground 0, your mind should be quiet. And this is what you do. You bring the image of the car in your mind, and you see yourself in the car. If you cannot see yourself in the car, it means you have low self-image. If you take another car that is a little bit more like a crappier car, you will see yourself in it. But if you take a car that is very luxurious and expensive, and you don't have that belief that you deserve that, you will not see yourself in that car. You will see the car, but you will not see yourself in it. All right? So you want to project yourself inside the car. Jesus called it, believe you have already received it, it will be yours. It's not by talking, it's by creating, to praise, to create. So you see yourself in the car. Now, it's important that you activate all your spiritual 5 senses in that imagination before it can become visualization. It's not visualization until your 5 senses are activated. So when you are in the car, activate your sense of sight. You gotta see all the details. You gotta see, the wheel. You gotta see the radio. You gotta see everything. You wanna copy all the details very, very, very well, the best way you can. The sense of sight is activated. Number 2, your sense of touch, right? You want to feel the wheel. You in your imagination, in the spiritual world, right? You feel it. You feel the wheel. You feel the chair. Very good. Sense of hearing. Turn on the radio while you're in the car. Listen to your favorite music. All the 3 senses are not awakened. Feeling will begin to happen because the brain doesn't know the difference at that moment between what you're imagining and what you're doing. When you don't involve your senses, the brain will not generate the chemicals, the hormones that will become the feeling, right? That feeling, Apostle Paul called it the substance of things hoped for. It has to be a substance, it has to be tangible, it has to be a real feeling, right? So then you activate your sense of taste. Maybe you can drink water while sitting in the car, drink your favorite juice while sitting in the car. What you do, you just want to activate all your senses: sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of taste, sense of touch, and the sense of smell. Smell your best fragrance while you are in the car. At that moment, your brain, which is the throne of God in the human body, will begin to generate some vibrations. Will begin to generate a feeling as though you have already received it. Now, that feeling, listen to this. Don't lose this. That feeling is the prayer answer. That actual feeling is the car, but in energy form. So what you do now, you expand on it. You expand on that feeling every day, and it start moving out of your heart, which is the first heaven, and it enters your aura, which is the second heaven, right? It enters your aura, it becomes a vibe. You go out, people like your vibe, your aura will turn your head to see the car everywhere. Like your aura will be commanding your head, your sight to see it everywhere. You continue, you don't stop. Then now the car, which is a vibration, will move into the atmosphere. And people, by the law of telepathy, will begin to pick it up at the subconscious level. They'll start talking to you about the car, right? It will show up in your mail. You turn on the radio, you hear about the car. Then you know it's getting close. You understand? So that's the third heaven. When you have an out of body experience, like Paul spoke about the third heaven, that's what he's talking about. So once it goes into the atmosphere, 4 laws will be activated under one principle. There's only one principle that will activate all those 4 laws: the principle of telepathy. Because people will become event and circumstances to deliver to you what you are putting. That's the power of prayer. What are the laws? The law of cause and effect, the law of sowing and reaping, the law of synchronicity, and the law of serendipity. They will all come together under the principle of telepathy and deliver to you the car you have been asking for.
Wow. So it sounds like with what you're explaining, Alan, is that we're working with these spiritual laws.
All the time.
All the time. But so many people don't actually know what these spiritual laws are.
No, but they can put a seed in the ground. They don't see any law, but they know there's something making the seed become a plant. Right. But what they don't know is that the atmosphere is also a soil, and your thoughts is a seed you're planting in it. And that same law is going to make it come out like a plant or something, an event or circumstance.
Can you speak a little bit to, something that you've taught me over and over and over again is the feeling of a thing?
Is a thing itself. For example, right? 2 realms, the physical realm and the spiritual realm. Let's say you have a boyfriend, right? The way you feel about the boyfriend is the actual boyfriend. The feeling you have inside about the boyfriend, that's the actual boyfriend. The actual boyfriend is not the physical one, because the one you have the experience with is the one in your body. But what you may not know is that the feeling of the boyfriend in you is entangled with the physical boyfriend. So what you do to the feeling version of the boyfriend, subconsciously the boyfriend will feel it and receive it. If you argue with the energy version of the boyfriend in you, it won't be long. It will manifest in real argument, because he will feel subconsciously the argument you've been having with him inside you. We have seen many marriages changing by just changing the version of the husband that is inside of the spouse, right? When you hate somebody, well, you have just created an energy version of that person inside your body. That's the energy version of the person that will begin to destroy your body, break down your system, decrease your immune system, and get your body sick, create all kind of rashes on your skin and joint pain, because you have designed an energy version of that person in your body as a toxic vibration. So the feeling of a thing is the thing itself. So even if you want a house, if you can generate the feeling version of that house in your body, you already have the house as energy. Remember, you are a spirit. In order to access anything, you have to convert it to come into the same realm you stand, right? If you are energy, if you are a spirit, but you want something physical, well, you want to access, spirit cannot consume material things. A spirit can only consume energy. You understand? So even if you buy a brand new house, what the spirit is consuming, the feeling the house is giving you, right? Everywhere we're shopping for feelings. Why you buying that dress? It's producing a feeling in you, right? If the feeling is not there, you're not going to purchase the dress, right? So the feeling of a thing is the thing itself. The moment you want to have something, have the feeling of it first. If you can change the feeling of something, eventually the physical thing will change. This is something that is known in the African wise cultures of the ancient time that have not actually been taught. But we know these things, that when you have the feeling of something, you have the thing itself. Mm-hmm. And what you do to the feeling through the law of entanglement, the physical thing will respond to it. Mm. Is absolutely true.
I love that. I love that. So let's talk about what Jesus talked about around the power of living in the moment and being in the present.
Well, I mean, again, the scripture made a big sentence, huge, and that little verse can take up so much when it comes to awareness. Mm-hmm. Say, now is the acceptable time of the Lord. That's huge. Mm-hmm. He said, now is the acceptable time of the Lord. What does that really mean? First of all, let's clear out the concept of living in the present moment and make it simple for people to practice, right? We clear it out, and we also make it easy for people to understand the state of no mind. Because people hear, state of no mind, how can I be without no mind? No, let me make it simple for you. When you get to a point where you can focus on your breath alone, you are in the present moment. Mm-hmm. If you can focus on your breath, at least for 30 minutes, the breath is the eternal now. You see? So don't struggle with the word too much. The key thing is to train your mind to be in the present moment. Now, do we have power over time? Absolutely, because what is time? Time is a feeling. Okay, for example, if somebody presents an opportunity to you, and you say this is not the right time, why you say that? Because you're feeling something. Mm-hmm. But the question is, can you manipulate and change time? Yes, because if you can convert time into a feeling, you can change the feeling. That will be the right time for you. For example, let's say someone tells you it's time to get married. Get married? Mm-mm. This is not the right time for me. Well, let's do this, right? If you can sit on the chair, the moment you understand that time can be converted into a feeling or energy, you can sit on the chair and imagine the whole wedding and allow your five senses to infiltrate the imaginal act. While you are at the wedding, you feel the ring, you feel your husband, you went home, you build, you clean the house, you both are having a good time. You do it for 24 days. The feeling will change automatically into the now feeling. You will be ready. Because that feeling now is the time. That's your new time. You can create it. You see, when it goes out of you, it will change the clock. It will literally change the cosmic clock and make the right time manifest in your life. If you can convert everything, this is the secret. This is not complicated. If you can convert everything into energy, which means starting with feeling, it goes from feeling to vibration, from vibration to frequency, from frequency to message. Message, that's when it goes to the astral realm where angels have to pick it up and stuff like that. But that's it. That's the eternal now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wow, that's so powerful. Well, and it's funny because while you were talking, one of the things that kind of came to mind for me was, and I was just thinking about this the other day, and I know this is a little different than the idea of numbers per se, but I was thinking about how Jesus had turned the 5 fish and 2 loaves into enough to feed 5,000. Yeah. And I think it's so hard for us to conceive of that kind of miracle where we see something manifested in that way. But from what you're saying, it sounds to me like you're saying he understood the laws well enough to be able to actually then just basically instantaneously sort of manifest these things.
Yeah. When he said, I am the way, you got to ask yourself, the way to what? Sometimes we use Jesus as a fire escape. We think he's saying, I'm the way so I don't go to hell. You got to think better and bigger than that. It's the way to the full manifestation of the Christ consciousness. It's in the scripture. that we must attain the full measure of the stature of Christ, which is actually the calling of the church. The Bible made it clearly that all the five government gift of the church, apostle, teachers, pastors, and prophet and evangelists, is to bring the church into the full maturity of Christ so that we can behave like Jesus Christ on earth. That is the goal of the church, all right? So now what Jesus was demonstrating is an example of what human beings are supposed to be like. When you read the book of Hebrew, you hear the conversation. They didn't say who made the conversation, but I know who is the angels. They said it's been written that God has given mankind, has crowned him with glory. But we have never seen none of them manifest that glory. But we have seen Jesus, who is made in the likeness of man, demonstrate that glory. And the book of Romans will tell you clearly that the whole universe is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. We are here to let out the fullness of the glory of Christ that is within us. So he showed us the demonstration of mind over matter, changing water into wine, multiplying fish and loaves, speaking to the fig tree, speaking to the wind, talking to water. You got to understand that's mind over matter. That's where we begin to show our dominion on earth. And that time is coming. And I think science is kind of helping too.
Love that.
What's coming to me, Alan, as you talk, as what are some things that, or some tips you might even have for parents that want to raise their children with some of these foundations and ideas?
Well, it's important to not to let the child in you raise your children, because you got to understand that the wounded child in the parent is the one that is raising the kids in other homes. It's important, like when the parent said to the child, like, you're lucky. When I was your age, I didn't have all that. Mm-hmm. That's not the parent talking. Mm-hmm. That's a jealous child in the parent who didn't have the opportunity. Mm-hmm. The child in the parent is jealous. And that child in the parent is saying to the other child, look at you. Now you're lucky. You got all these toys around. I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to make sure you have a miserable life. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, that child, instead of the parent, will start hurting the other child. So what I want to tell people is this. When you make a decision to bring a soul in this earth, on this earth, you got to understand that your womb and your home are the first crib for that soul. The soul is coming for the world. You are the channel. You must understand that before even you conceive, you must heal yourself. You must heal this body temple. And the way to heal yourself is to design, or I would say to awaken your real self, which is the image and the likeness of love. So you prepare the biological womb for that soul to come in. But you see, the house environment too. We go to Toys R Us and all kind of the Amazon and buying cribs and decorating physical rooms. But you see, the environment, we don't decorate it with love. We don't decorate it with peace. We don't decorate it with kindness. We don't decorate it with affection. But that's what the soul needs the most. But if you are a parent and you bless your child with love, then we are all blessed. Because there's something called the ripple effect of the collective consciousness. See, one child that have been blessed in a home will bless the whole world. You gotta understand, Mary gave birth to her own savior. That's deep. You gotta understand. Sometimes even children think, oh, I came and I need my parent. What if it's the other way around? What if she gave birth to her own savior? What if the divine has descended in your body to actually answer a prayer to your parents? It goes both ways. It goes both ways. When we work on ourselves, we make the world better, guys. Mm-hmm. When we genuinely, honestly, truthfully, with pure heart, we work on ourselves, all these spiritual gifts, spiritual powers, spiritual abilities, guys, to be honest with you, I'm not trying to diminish anything. I'm sorry, but it's cheap. People look at this thing as something big. No, let me tell you, these are tools to work with. The real thing is love. That's the real thing. You see, the real thing is love. So if you get love, the Bible made it clear. You don't have love, you have nothing. It tells you 1 Corinthians 13. You can have faith to move mountains. You can have all the knowledge to fathom all the mysteries or whatever you want to do. If you have love, you have not you are nothing. Basically. So love is bigger, it's more powerful. So I get to a point where some of the gifts I don't even show them no more. I hide it completely from people. I say, okay, can we work on love? Can you write on love? Because if I heal your legs, right, you will walk in the physical realm. But what if your understanding is crippled? Because in the spiritual realm, you walk with your understanding. Understanding, you're standing on it. So when your understanding is crippled, you're actually spiritually crippled. You can move forward. So and only love can heal your understanding. You see, if I heal your physical eyes, you can see, but your perception is blind. Only love can heal your perception. You see, so if I make your physical ears hear, but your spiritual ear, which is intuition, is plugged, only love can heal them. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So if I heal your sense of taste, but I can heal your sense of taste, which is the spirit of judgment, being able to have the right judgment, then only love can heal that. I can do that. You understand what I'm saying? If I heal, for example, your sense of smell, your physical sense of smell, but I cannot heal your spiritual sense of smell, which is discernment. Only love can heal that. You see, when love is awakened, all the spiritual senses are healed. And people get to rise in the vibration of love. And we're all going to be experiencing beautiful things on earth.
I love it. In what you've been just speaking to, it makes me think of the message that was given to me as I watched myself descend back into my dead body. I was told, and you must help the world to understand that they must give of themselves freely without expecting, and love is all there is.
Yeah, that's everything. Because that's love is God Himself, like or herself. It has no identity. The Bible says male and female created He them in His image and likeness. See, that's why I say the words are betraying the experience when it comes to the spiritual realm. But trust me, love is not a question of all those things. You know, love is the cosmic substance that sustains the whole creation. When it is awakened in your body, there's no such thing like, and I'm going to say something, it may not make sense to you, but it will make sense to you later. There's no such thing as forgiveness. Because there has never been an offense in the territory of love. That's what the Bible says, love keeps no record of wrong. You see, forgiveness is a backup plan for people who haven't discovered themselves as love.
Wow, I love it. Yes.
It's a backup plan. You see, so any other questions for me? Let's have fun. I'm having fun with you guys.
We're having fun.
Different than that.
Well, I just, something that comes to me is just that I think that this is something that has sort of been overlooked in a lot of ways. And Samuel, I think, made a comment to this effect earlier that, there hasn't been a lot of understanding or even focus in the church, over many years on this idea of love and what that really means. And so I think, for people who have been in church and even out of church, this is really kind of a different and new way of looking at love and what Jesus really came here to do. And so for someone who is, really kind of new to this, what's the first kind of fundamental thing that they need to focus on to help themselves, move in the direction of then being in a more loving space?
All right. Let's summarize this in a way that you're talking about the traditional Christian who can understand this, right? I'm going to take it from Genesis and we're going to go to the cross, all right? The Bible spoke about, oh my God, I'm so excited. That God brought, this is huge. This is beautiful. Guys, this is going to bless so many people. I'm very excited for this, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Today we're going to look beyond the word, all right? Listen, we borrowed the Bible from the Jewish culture. And the Jewish mindset, I want to tell you the truth. the majority of the things is completely metaphysical. Normally, to be introduced to the scriptures, you have to be initiated, which means someone will unveil, open up, and reveal the scriptures to you. That's the reason why Jesus said to his disciples, to you it is given to understand the mysteries of the kingdom, right? So we want to break down some concept, and that's going to liberate a lot of people. Let's talk about the concept of sin, okay? Then we're going to talk about love awakened through Jesus Christ. It is written in the scriptures that God brought all the animals to Adam so he may give them a name. You got to ask yourself, was Adam speaking English or French? Did he call them tiger and spider? It's not true. If someone says this, it's not true because the language has not yet been made. So he didn't call them lion and tiger. Don't say that. So did he even speak our dialect? No. Okay. So what is the meaning of him giving them a name? This is the understanding, the spiritual, the mystery of name. Name means nature, right? Watch this. So God brought the animals to Adam so that he may discover the nature. And the Bible says while he was discovering the nature, he realized that he needs a female part. Or while he was giving them a name, if we have to put it in the hidden language, now I'm breaking down that language now to the spiritual understanding, he discovered that he needed a female nature. Now, in the garden, there were two trees. There were many trees, but in the center of the garden, there were two trees, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. People travel the whole world to look for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Listen, this is what you call esoteric knowledge, right? Moses wasn't writing a simple language for you to go out and find a tree. It's called a tree of knowledge, right? What is the tree of knowledge? It's man's conscience that helps him distinguish right from wrong or good from evil, his own understanding. That's what the Bible says, do not rely on your own understanding. So God told Adam, don't eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which simply means don't rely on your own judgment of right and wrong. You see, but in our own conscience, right? In our own, I'm not saying conscious, but conscience, right? Our own understanding, there is the ego or the serpent, right? The serpent or the ego injects suggestions to the human spirit when you want to rely on your own understanding. But the Bible tells you that wisdom is the tree of life. I'm getting excited. I want to dance now. And the Bible tells us Christ, the wisdom of God, which means he's the tree of life within man. You understand? When you rely on the tree of life in you, you don't receive the idea of what is wrong, what is right. No, you receive something called inspiration from the Holy Spirit. It's direct, it's straightforward, it's clear answer. But when we eat the fruits of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, we eat the fruits of the conscience between right and wrong, which is the thought that comes from our own judgment. We eat it. We create actually another personality, which is called the ego. And the ego is called by the Bible the sinful nature, but you are not the ego. You are not the sinful nature. Romans chapter 7, Paul made it very clear. He said, if I do what I don't want to do, therefore it's not I who is doing it. Oh, he said, it's not I who is doing who? The image and the likeness of God in me is not doing that. But he said, it's sin living in me. Oh, so sin is actually a personality. That's why Paul said, do not allow sin to rule over your mortal body. You see, because that personality, the ego, can actually rule over your body and suggest thoughts to you. But Paul says something very powerful, and I want to make it clear and simple for you. The redemptive work of Jesus Christ is very simple. Put a cross on the ego. It's called crucify the ego. Bury the ego, which means don't identify yourself with it no more. The Bible says it's sown corruptible, but resurrected incorruptible. When you crucify the ego, you bury the ego, you are resurrected in your true self as the image and the likeness of God, which is the Christ in you, the hope of glory. When it's resurrected, that's not it. It has to ascend in higher consciousness so that you can become the full measure of the stature of Christ. which is called coming to the full manifestation of the sons of God, of the seed of God. This is what it means. When you reach that level, when the Christ is awakened in you, love is awakened in you. That's the end of the law. That's what the Bible said. Love is the end of the law, right? I'm trying to make myself good. I'm trying to make myself nice. That's the law. But when Christ is awakening in you, we have this forced humility to say we're all sinners. Where do we get that from? What has not been originally created cannot be the truth, right? When God originally created you, he created you in his image and likeness. Be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. When you confess and affirm that you are a sinner, you are reactivating the ego and you are nullifying the power of the cross over your life. You must understand. So this is the challenge that Christians are going through. Most traditional Christians, they believe that they have to keep calling themselves sinners. They have to keep saying that they're not good enough. And then one day they're going to go to heaven and be happy. That's not going to happen. Let me tell you right now. When you cannot experience heaven on earth, there's no way you're going to experience when you come out of this body. The other side is an extension of what is taking place here. Do you understand? You have to awaken that love in you, then that love will continue on the other side.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You guys are getting more excited, man, than me here.
Oh my God. I freaking love it. We had a question here from Donna.
How can we bring more love into the church? Well, first of all, we have to stop. Basically, it's gonna be because we changed the church structure to fit the world structure. You understand what is happening here?
Mm-hmm.
Because what's happening is we now go to school for the spiritual calling. And we are taught doctrines and we are given diplomas and certificates in doctrines. And we use that doctrine to indoctrinate the people. So the person who is bringing the message to the people is the one that has to be awakened in love. Because when you're teaching, two things happen. And I want to tell you this. This is very important. Let's say, for example, I am a farmer and I know how to farm. Whenever I farm, I create a feeling in me, the feeling of the experience, because I farmed. This is what I do. Whenever I do it, I generate a feeling in me. Now, when I'm teaching somebody how to farm, two things are happening. At the conscious level, they are receiving the word of farming. But at the subconscious level, they are receiving the vibration I generated from my experience. Through my aura, they're receiving it also in their aura. So they're receiving two things. They're receiving the word, the physical word, but they're also receiving the spiritual vibration generated from what I'm speaking, right? So what produces transformation in them is the combination of the energy that went out. We call it the anointing, or we call it grace, or we call it the power of God. When that frequency goes out with the word, it combines in them, it begins to change the neural pathway. It's called renewing your mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So if the preacher doesn't experience love, if the preacher never experienced love, he can only talk about it. He will give you what is the word, like the letter. The Bible said the letter kills, but the spirit or the vibration, the frequency gives life. You understand? So he will be teaching the word, but Jesus said, my word, they are spirit and they are life. You understand? Something is not flowing out of the preacher. So people are not being fed because spirit can only consume energy. You understand? So the brain is consuming the vocabularies, but the spirit is not eating anything. People will never fall into the pool of love that we are talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right. Wow.
Well, and I think that really speaks to, what's happening in Christianity and how, there's starting to be this shift towards more of an understanding of grace and this discussion around love.
Yeah.
And it seems like, Alan, too, if we're kind of bringing it back full circle, it really goes back to the feeling of a thing as a thing itself.
It's the thing itself.
And right?
Yeah. Somebody asked a very important question here. What is the definition of consciousness? And what is the purpose we are here on earth for? So watch this. Again, this is something that is very important to explain. Before we can understand consciousness, we have to understand life, right? Sometimes we think awareness and consciousness are the same. They are not. I've seen people talking about this, but watch this. Awareness is I am. You are what? I am. I'm just aware. But when I say I am a teacher, I become consciousness. Which consciousness? The consciousness of a teacher. So if you think of consciousness like a power source, you think of awareness like an ion, the moment you plug the ion to the power source, it gets hot. So you see, when I say I am, I haven't plugged myself into any identity or personality at all. But the moment I plug my I am into a personality, it becomes the consciousness. I immediately activate it. But when I say I am that I am, nothing is defined. I am pure stream of awareness. I am pure stream of awareness. Nothing is plugged into it. Now, when you want to understand it, consciousness is what I spoke about earlier. You got to understand life. Life is made of what? Intelligence and what? Energy. Combined equals life. Life is consciousness. Consciousness is God. Consciousness is love. Love is spirit. Same thing. Yeah, that's it.
We have another question, and the question is from Dana, I believe.
How do we cultivate this love so that the aura vibrates? Well, that's a good question. This is why we talk about, that's why I created the program, the auragram, right? Because the love we're talking about, I say, is the cosmic substance, right? It's the body of God that is embedded in everything, starting from particles, the trees, and everything. It's embedded at the root of everything that is created. Now, everything is made out of light. We call those light photons. My wife and I would call them auragrams. They're like auras with programs in it. If you, through meditation, that's what we taught in the auragram, you can tap into those photonic aspect of your being, the photons will begin to generate that substance of love to take over your whole body. Then you start experiencing the power of God and move it into your environment.
I love it. I love it. Well, why don't you share more? We talked about this today. Why don't you share about how they can participate in your upcoming retreats and they can participate in this auragram?
Oh, it's going to be very powerful, very amazing. So what I'm going to do during that retreat is to take people through the process of tapping into the photonic aspect. When you think about transfiguration, take Jesus, for example, right? He transfigured himself to the body of photons. So all that the disciples can see is light, bunch of light, photons. Now, if he were to push it further, he will vanish, right? Because after photons, all that is you become an idea, you become invisible. That's the reason why quantum physics, they took the quarks, right? They explode them together to see what will come out and they vanish. They say, where is it? It has become an idea. You vanished, right? You become a quantum being. So during this auragram retreats, what I want to teach people is to how to tap into that photonic aspect of themselves, the loved ones, the bed they sleep on, how they can bless their whole life, the whole house, so that they can experience the beauty in their business too, everything they want to do. When you awaken love, right, in everything that you are, what you wear, in everywhere you go, everything you do, things begin to flow. You are inviting God into every aspect of your life. Jesus will call is the Father in me who does the work.
I love that.
So on the website, you can find the retreat.
Yes. So give us the website real quick.
The website is #1, happyliving.com. #1, happyliving.com. One word.
Perfect. I just put it up there too, so that because we have it on our podcast and they'll hear that. The #1, happyliving.com. And it's also here on the screen.
And what's the date of that retreat?
Yeah, that'll be the retreat. And they will see other event. We have a relationship event coming up. People who are struggling with, dating, they have a wounded relationship in the past. They don't want to date no more. People who have been through divorce, and people who have a relationship want to make it work. We want to give them the true meaning of creating actually, because a relationship is a third body. That's people don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
When you have one person and the other person, the goal is to create a third body. That third body is actually a light body, which is the combination of both aura that create that third body. That third body is actually the portal of everything into the relationship. So we want to help people understand that marriage, like relationship, is way beyond like signing a certificate and coming home and go to honeymoon and go to restaurant every day, every weekend, or
Right.
day, and then you do movie nights. Yes. And then you say, okay, what else can I do? I'm gonna go mountain climbing. And then what else can we do? And you out of options, right? Because people haven't tapped yet into the spiritual aspect of marriage. So those both events are actually on the website.
Okay.
And when are they? When are they? Give us a date.
The date will be there available. I don't have it in my mind right now, but they are.
Okay.
On the site. Check the site.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's just been fantastic. I mean, we went over because it was just so amazing and so rich. I didn't want to stop, and I want everybody to hear what
And you're in
had to
trouble.
say.
You're in trouble because people are calling the prayer line.
Now your phone's not going to stop ringing all night.
I'm going to have to apologize to them, and but it's all right.
Perfect.
Well, and Ellen, I know that you don't do this very often, so thank you for joining us and being able to share your wisdom and insight. It helps so many.
Well, I'm grateful. Thank you for you guys, and I hope people have been blessed, and I believe they have been blessed. And anytime, you girls, you corner me very well, so.
It was destined.
Certainly our
Well, I want
pleasure.
to thank everybody. Yes, thank everybody for being here tonight. We are so grateful for each and every one of you. We appreciate you. Thank you for sharing this out with all of your Facebook pages. You can reach us at www.thehighvibenation.com. Please book with us to be a guest on our show. We absolutely love having you. Our show is held on Mondays and Wednesday nights at 5:00 p.m. Is there anything else you want to say, Pam or Christy?
No, this has been fabulous. I'm just so happy that Alan was here to spend time with us today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you
What
so
an
much.
amazing and joyful moment with all of you.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again on Monday night at 5:00, the High Vibe Nation.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
From everybody here at the High Vibe Nation, we want to say thank you for choosing to raise your vibration. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe. If you need to find us on the web, check us out at www.thehighvibenation.com. Looking forward to seeing you on the next episode, and keep high vibing.